Transformation. This has fast become a favorite buzzword for the whole industry all around. You go online, you search for anything, any technology, any solution for for an individual, for a group, for a company, for a country, and the word transformation would invariably appear in your search results. You search for the term and you'll find millions of it, and there'll be many companies behind them. They all would have their own definitions of transformation. In a couple of minutes, we'll share our definition, our understanding of transformation as well. And this comes from our decades of experience as a consulting group working with some of the largest companies in the world. And we've helped them in transformation across whole slew of different topics, different areas, whether you are looking for growth, whether you're looking to launch a new product, you're recovering from an accident, dealing with a crisis, building the company, globalization, all kinds of issues, offshore leadership, offshore partners, manufacturing. We've helped company with the transformation. So we've obviously we think that we have developed. We think that we feel that we have developed a strong expertise, a strong competence in how we transform any company, and we are putting forward this series of presentations to help come up with a framework, a blueprint that we could apply for Pakistan. So let's go ahead and see what we have in mind. So before we even get to it, let's try to figure out what transformation is. So just like anybody else in this day and age, how do you start probing about a question? You ask ChatGPT. That's exactly what we did. And we got this answer. We don't necessarily have to read the whole thing, but let's just highlight some of the common terms that we really wanted to underline. That it's a process of changing or converting something from one form, from one state to another, or it's a physical or chemical process, or it's a fundamental and significant change. Let's keep going. It's a major challenge, or to take advantage of new opportunities, or it's a significant change. So in the whole definition that we got across all whole bunch of different domains, we've got a general definition, we got a mathematical definition, physics terms, business terms. Overall, we got a definition of transformation, and some things that highlight, we just underline those. Let's keep going. Let's look at another definition. Oh, we missed out the last point: conversion. This is big. Conversion from one state to another. That's what transformation is. Let's keep going. Let's look at some other definitions. This is what Google search gave us. And again, if you highlight the important part of this, it says a dramatic change and extreme and radical change. So I think we're getting a feel now, we're getting a sense of what transformation is. So let's give you some bullet points of what some of the critical components are for transformation. So it's a major change. Small incremental 2%, 3%, 5% change from what you're doing today to where you want to go. That's a change, that's a positive improvement, but not necessarily a transformation. Transformation is something major, something massive. So that's what the first bullet point is. It's a major change. Also, transformation is noticeable, but only after some time. So you might think that you are spending all your efforts into doing something and you're not getting any result. Results will come. They're definite to come, but not immediately. So there's noticeable, but only after a while. So let's remember this. Initial journey is difficult. Difficult for the reason we just pointed out that you seem to be spending your effort, you're not getting any results. Takes a while for the graph to start taking upwards. So initial journey is from the return point of view, from the motivation point of view, it's difficult, and the journey, of course, is difficult. Change by itself, by sheer definition, is difficult, whether for us individually, for us as business entities, as countries, as a group of people. Change is hard. Breaking away the inertia from what you're currently doing into the new world that you would want to go towards, it's not easy. So we have to understand, we have to highlight, we have to acknowledge the fact that change is hard. So therefore, transformation, initial journey is difficult. Point number four, it's not accidental. Transformation does not happen accidentally. You don't just stumble upon something and you're transformed the next day. It requires very careful planning and execution. Really, really important for us to know. It often requires a new team with new ideas. Why necessarily new? Why can't the same existing team could do it? because they are a part of the status quo. They are a part of the way things are working right now. They are not just invested in that solution, but they are comfortable in that. So the whole inertia sets in. If you want to break away from that, maybe the same team could work. But in most cases, what we have seen is strong leadership, a strong change in leadership could come in, and that could sort of create the movement, the momentum for you to propel forward. And sometime a new team is really what you need. And the desire to transformation must be intense. As we have said earlier, point number three, the initial journey is difficult. Point number two above says it's noticeable, but only after a while, which means after weeks and months of just plodding along, you're not seeing the results, you're not motivated to keep going. So you must have a really strong desire, strong willingness to make things work. That's what this point is talking about. The desire to transform must be intense. Without that, it's the journey becomes much harder. You're much more likely to drop out. You must have a sense of urgency, and you must have a fear of doom. Both of these points go hand in hand. Urgency that time is now, we got to do something now, or else the worst is going to happen. That's the next point, the fear of the doom. And again, all of these points, even though they're separate bullet points here, but they're sort of very closely intertwined with each other. They work, they sit on top of each other. We said the initial journey is difficult. We talked about the fact that there must be a sense of urgency, there must be a sense of very strong intensity. Why is this? It's to allow you to keep going, to keep having the motivation, to find the strength, the internal strength, to gather your team around, to get them to continue marching forward. This is the plan that we have. Let's continue with the plan based on everything that we have studied. This is the right plan for us. Yes, some if course correction is required, let's go ahead and do that as well. But overall, at the macro level, we must be willing to move forward. All of these points will hopefully to keep us on track and do it. Finally, there is an element of risk. Not every transformational project is successful. There's definitely no guarantee of success. And why is that? It's not because the plan failed. If you do have the right drive, if you do have the right motivation, then you're likely to make some improvement, some success. Maybe not the eventual success that you are aiming for, you are hoping for, and maybe that did not materialize. And there could be several factors. And in some other presentations, we can provide the list of potential points of failures, why you're able to fail to achieve some of the results. Here again, we are underlying, I don't know, maybe for the fifth time on this slide, when the journey is long, it's arduous, it's treacherous, it's you don't sometimes see the end in sight. You see that you are plodding along and things are not changing, things are not moving in the right direction. Even if you might have the sense of urgency, even though you might have the momentum initially, it starts tapering off. You start losing some of that. And if you drop off, then guess what? All their work went for nothing. One example that we give in our in-person presentations is chopping down a tree. Now, of course, we are living in the age of automation. We're bringing the right tool and maybe the electronic saw, then you can chop off a tree in a few seconds. Go back to the earlier days of doing it by hand, doing it by having an axe and hitting it one stroke at a time, one hit at a time. Imagine after 150 hits, you've hardly made a dent. The tree is still standing there. You can maybe see some of the effect of the dents that you have put on the tree trunk, but nothing really has moved, nothing really has changed. But then there would be a time, maybe the 150th stroke, 160th stroke, when something will happen. Maybe you'll see some movement. 10 more strokes, 25 more strokes, and now you see some bigger movement. And now things are beginning to happen. Now you can see that every stroke brings you closer to your end result, closer to your target. Imagine dropping off a few strokes before that. All the effort that you went into it, they amount to nothing because you dropped off. Okay. So, what does it tell us? It tells us that when you're looking at transformation, what are the critical components? The why, your reasons, why you're doing this. You must have an absolute clarity on this. Between you and your team, you must all be on the same page, knowing exactly what you're doing and why you're doing this. What? You cannot change everything in one swoop. What will you address first? So even though you might have come up with a long laundry list of things that you want to achieve, how you would get to it, what comes first, what comes second, what's your roadmap, what's your whole plan, timeline. That's what has to be addressed as well. Again, to complete clarity, total transparency, everyone being on the same page is critically important. Who your support team is, who are the ones whose hands are on the buttons, who are doing the work. These are the people with ideas and the execution plans. Critical part for any transformation, the right leadership. How? This is to be determined once the above questions are answered. So of the first three questions that we've identified, why are you doing this, what you are doing, and who is doing it? Once you have addressed those 3 points, then the how becomes so much easier. How is simply your strategy. And strategy could change. Your swell force could change, the ground realities could change, the environmental impact could change. And yeah, with that, you change your plan. You do some modifications. But these questions, they must be addressed before you even start off your journey. And the other question of when, the answer has got to be right now. So pause here for a moment. Ask yourself this question: Are you ready? Are you ready to move forward? Let's see you on the other side.